Welcome to the Air and Space Environmental Working Group Forum. I value this opportunity to share insights, strengthen partnerships and shape the future. We are all here today because we have a unifying belief in protecting Australia, our freedom, our values and our way of life. It is through this unifying belief that we will find our competitive advantage. Never before has our relationship with industry been so important to helping us deliver the cutting-edge capabilities we need for Australia's defence. Today, I will be speaking to you about Air Force's vision for air and space power and how we would like to work with our current and future industry partners to realise that vision. As the head of Air Force capability, reporting to the Chief of Air Force, I get to imagine the future and then create it, conceptualising and shaping the needs and future requirements of our air and space power in the Joint Force. I consider the needs of government and the strategic centre, then forecast and review available options which best deliver on the air and space power needs of our country. This involves harnessing the excellence of our people, as well as ensuring our warfighting capabilities achieve the required performance. And when I say warfighting capabilities, I mean our people, infrastructure, information systems and all the elements of the FIC, especially industry. There is no doubt that for the first time in decades, there are concerns about the security and prosperity of the Indo-Pacific region. International norms are being tested and our rules-based order is under pressure. I recently held a workshop with my team to orient ourselves in the new strategic setting. I asked my team why their role is so important to them. There were many great responses, but the one that best articulates what today is about is from Group Captain Jason Begley. Because the ADF is more than just a defender of the nation, it's a force for good in the world. The better tools we give it, the more effective it can be. Today I will update you on the Defence Strategic Update, AFSTRAT and my vision for air and space capability, my thoughts on a constant capability development cycle, the major programs and work and investments in the air and space domains, and how I would like to strengthen our relationship with industry. In July this year, the Australian Government released the 2020 Defence Strategic Update and the Force Structure Plan. These documents are key to understanding where your business, technology or research fits into meeting the needs of the defence of our nation. Regional players are acquiring advanced aerial capabilities, including networked 5th generation combat aircraft and high-speed, long-range weapons. This means our focus on long-range deterrence and strike capability is more important than ever. As the Indo-Pacific becomes more competitive, Air Force and the wider ADF must continue to look at aerial denial capabilities and how to best manage situational awareness at much greater distances from our shores. We are increasingly facing strategic competition and more frequent use of diverse grey zone tactics, particularly in the Indo-Pacific. The 2020 Defence Strategic Update serves to guide defence planning across strategy, capability and communications according to the following strategic objectives: to shape Australia's strategic environment, to deter actions against Australia's interests, and to respond with credible military force when required. Many of the challenges we face ahead remain uncertain, and the pace of change is faster than the current acquisition timeframes. The luxury of a 10-year warning time for a potential conflict has been eroded considerably. This has significant implications for our approach to defence technologies. We need to incorporate evolving technology into the force at the speed of relevance. Our defence industry innovation needs to help us achieve transient capability advantages and continuous capability development to retain our edge against potential adversaries. The strategic update talks of a cultural shift to a genuine partnership between defence and industry. The only way we can effectively leverage your expertise into the very best capability for Australia's defence is by working closer together. We need to develop an agile capability development approach, and I would like your help in working out how best to do this. To me, our relationships and ability to work constructively together as collaborators and partners is crucial to making the ADF the most effective force in a dynamic and challenging strategic environment. In response to this strategic guidance, Air Force released a new Air Force strategy, AFSTRAT, which outlines the role of Air Force within the context of Australia's security and how air and space power will generate strategic effects as part of the joint force. There are a number of new ideas presented in AFSTRAT that will see us view capability differently and break us out of traditional mindsets and models. Firstly, Air Force must contribute to the joint force in ways that achieve the maximum strategic effect across a spectrum from cooperation to conflict. Competitors are exploiting the grey zone to cause harm while staying under the threshold for conflict. We need to broaden Air Force's strategic aperture for a broader spectrum of effects than merely contributing to high-end warfighting. Secondly, Air Force must move beyond narrow vertical perspectives and also consider the utility of capabilities from a horizontally integrated viewpoint. This will serve to minimise the focus on platforms and enhance the focus on the strategic outcome, allowing for creative and non-prescriptive compositions of current capabilities. We will need to ensure that novelty and creativity are essential to applying air and space power in ways that cannot be easily anticipated by competitors. To reflect our bolstering strategic focus, the vision that I have set for air and space capability is to rapidly deliver agile and creative air and space capabilities integrated into the joint force to advance Australia's security and prosperity. I see your role as critical here. Effectively leveraging Australia's defence industry and innovation capabilities is a fundamental input to air and space power for our future force. It is the only way we can rapidly incorporate evolving technology into the force at the speed that we need to. Working towards a constant capability development cycle will help us access the minds and skills of industry earlier. Partnering in your research and development will help inform our future capabilities in a much deeper way. One of the limitations of the traditional capability development approach, it is focused on technology. We need to conceptualise the bigger picture, how it all fits together, with considerations across elements like people, policy, strategy, engagement, culture, and regulation. We have embarked on larger innovation programs, for example, Loyal Wingman, a significant investment for which we have high hopes of success. While we are testing concepts, our success measures are much broader than a capability outcome or export success. It is about workforce skills, understanding future workforce requirements, practical applications of artificial intelligence ethics, and teaming concepts. My team are working alongside the Strategic Centre on futures to start a more agile design process for capability development, and we will need diverse industry partners in this process. To demonstrate how effective this can be, I will outline the capability approach we've used for integrated air and missile defence. The proliferation of ballistic and very high-speed missiles means our deployed forces need enhanced deployable air and anti-missile defence when on operations. The Integrated Air and Missile Defence System is designed to unite multiple capabilities across the joint force to protect a given area against rapidly advancing air and missile threats. Together with Force Integration Division, defence stakeholders and our industry partners, we have developed high-level design guidance upon which the detailed systems architectures will be developed. The program requires sensors across all our defence capabilities to be connected in different ways to decider systems that evaluate and judge how best to deal with the inbound threats. These decider systems connect to platforms with a further connection to a variety of effectors, which deliver a kinetic or non-kinetic response to protect the joint force and Australia. Building this system will be no small feat. I am sure this audience will understand the complexity of connecting disparate and novel systems, such as a Navy Aegis radar, a wedge-tail, commercial space-based assets, and a NASAMS. Imagine then the scale and complexity of connecting relevant platforms and systems into an integrated command and control system. The system must sense, then almost instantaneously decide the best course of action and send a command to an effector such as a ship, a fighter aircraft or ground-based system to engage and defeat the target. All the while, the integrated air and missile defence capability will need to be cyber resilient, minimising the seams whilst maximising the channels to sense, decide and effect as a complete system. And IAMD isn't only about connecting technology, its success hinges on people, culture and relationships. This project requires input and coordination across the Joint Force, as well as groups such as CIOG and ASD to deliver effects. IAMD is networking the people and assets across the whole of the Joint Force to produce an integrated effect. The defence industry must be a partner from the start, and they are. We have tried to strike the right balance between the benefits of deep collaboration and the advantages of encouraging healthy market competition. Raytheon, Boeing, Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin have all been part of our IAMD architecture design team to both inform us and to inform them about what we need to achieve. We will eventually select one strategic partner as the IAMD capability steward to lead the industry team, with the three others continuing to contribute their unique capabilities together with our Australian SMEs. As a result of this collaboration with industry, we will maximise the amount of expertise we can draw on, whilst ensuring that expertise has a deep understanding of the project from inception. Working with a program like this requires a different approach to contracting for success. Success which embraces innovation and allows for failure to achieve the best effect. I will now outline the other major programs of work and key upcoming approaches to market, and then move on to how we would like to partner with you. The government has stated it is committed to properly equipping defence, and they've allocated $270 billion to capability requirements over the next 10 years. Defence's air domain will receive approximately $65 billion to continue to develop our air capabilities. I want to spend a few minutes highlighting some of those investments across our major programs of work. The ISR and Electronic Warfare Program supports the development and exploitation of joint and combined intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance, including an integrated air picture. We are continuing to develop capabilities that strengthen our ability to operate in contested and complex ISR and electromagnetic environments. These include upgrades to the Growler electronic attack capability, upgrades and enhancements to the Jindalee over-the-horizon radar network, which provides wide area surveillance of the air and sea approaches to Northern Australia, the acquisition of the MQ-9B Sky Guardian remotely piloted aircraft, and the MC-55A Peregrine capabilities. In addition, there is new or additional investment in an expansion of the Dawn radar in Longreach, Queensland, to provide broader coverage into the Southwest Pacific, acquisition of additional crewed and uncrewed ISR aircraft, replacement and expanded airborne electronic attack aircraft, and the development and delivery of uncrewed air vehicles with mission-specific ISR payloads. This means more crewed and uncrewed aircraft and aerial systems to provide increased surveillance and reconnaissance efforts in support of the Joint Force Command and Control. Air combat power is a critical capability, both in protecting Australia and deployed forces from adversary threats and giving Australia a credible capability to hold at risk an adversary's forces and infrastructure at a distance from Australia. Our air combat capabilities will maintain sufficient operational flexibility and capacity to conduct both control of the air and strike operations. We are continuing to procure 72 F-35A Lightning Joint Strike Fighters, to invest in the sustainment of the F-18F Super Hornet strike aircraft, and the procurement of enhanced air-launched munitions. The Force Structure Plan also provides for new and additional investment in a 4th Air Combat Squadron later in the decade, high-speed missiles, including hypersonics, for advanced long-range strike, remotely piloted and/or autonomous combat aircraft, including air teaming vehicles such as loyal wingmen for air combat roles, enhanced self-protection for our aircraft, and research and development in high-speed missile defence, including hypersonic weapons. The Maritime Patrol and Response Program supports maritime ISR, anti-submarine warfare, maritime strike and personnel recovery roles. Australia has vast ocean approaches, and we are delivering a cutting-edge mix of complementary capabilities to protect our near region. Accordingly, we are also complementing the investments being made in our maritime ISR program. We will continue to invest in capability upgrades for the P8 Poseidon maritime patrol capability and the procurement of the MQ-4C Triton maritime remotely piloted capability. Compared to our legacy systems, the P8 Poseidon and the MQ-4C Triton provide a significant enhancement in Defence's ability to maintain situational awareness of Australia's maritime approaches. Within the Air Mobility Program, the Force Structure Plan provides for continued investment in support and through-life upgrades to the KC-30 multi-role tanker transport, the C-17 Globemaster heavy air mobility aircraft, the C-130J medium air mobility capability, and the C-27J Spartan light air mobility capability. It also provides for new and additional investment in large aircraft electronic warfare self-protection systems across the air mobility fleets to enhance survivability of aircrew and aircraft against modern threats. Replacement and expansion of the C-130J Hercules medium air mobility fleet, and an expanded fleet for the KC-30 air-to-air refuelling tankers, including with crewed and/or remotely piloted systems to enhance the capacity of Air Force to operate at long range and sustain operations. Expanding the air mobility fleet will improve Defence's operational capability to support and project our forces across Australia, the Indo-Pacific and further afield. To enable and support our air operations, we will continue to make capability investments in areas like airbase operations, air traffic management and aircrew training activities. The FSP provides for the continued development of the Woomera Range facility, the upgrade of Defence air traffic management systems and upgrades to Air Force training systems, including the PC-21 fleet. It also provides for new and additional investment in deployable aircraft hangars, aircraft battle damage repair capabilities, acquisition of counter-chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear capability to support the decontamination of bases and aircraft, and enhancements to the infrastructure to improve the capacity and survivability of our Northern Australian bases. A request for information in support of Project Air 5428 Phase 3 Air Mission Training System has very recently closed. This project will replace Air Force's current air mission training system to provide initial employment training for non-pilot aviation specialists. This request for information sought information on technologies management and commercial considerations to inform our future project planning. A subsequent invitation to register is planned to be released later in 2021. Assured access to space is critical to Defence operations and the Australian people. Our force structure, concepts and doctrine rely on access to space systems and information. The ADF is currently a consumer of space capability, relying heavily on access to US capability through our strong military and intelligence relationships. The strategic update acknowledged the criticality of the space domain, and the FSP committed $7 billion over the next decade to transition the ADF from a consumer to a sovereign contributor in space. Along with the investment in new capabilities, Defence is evolving its organisation and leadership of space from a federated to an integrated organisational approach. We have now recognised a space domain in response to the critical need for coordination across Defence space stakeholders, engagement with industry, and to enable action towards our space strategic goals. Following the appointment of Chief of Air Force as the Space Domain Lead, Defence has mapped out a 2-year body of work to develop and enhance the Defence space domain. The space domain will be advanced from current state into an enterprise able to operate in an integrated and networked manner in a complex and contested space environment. Defence plans to work closely with and will rely on the expertise of industry, allies and partners, and other government agencies such as the Australian Space Agency. These partnerships will ensure we transform the way we operate in space, including satellite communications, space domain awareness, position, navigation and timing, and Earth observation capabilities. As Defence develops the space domain, the decisions made will highlight the areas of existing excellence, respect the critical and valuable relationships, and build in consultation for the future. Two significant components of the space domain enhancement process will include developing a space strategy and capability blueprint, seeking to evaluate and articulate the types of capabilities Defence should aim for and integrate over time, and enhancing guidance for defence industry in cooperation with our partners at the Australian Space Agency, outlining how Defence should support and develop Australian industry to deliver on the capability blueprint. A request for proposal for project JP 9360 Phase 1, Space Domain Awareness, to deliver, test and introduce into service an initial Australian space surveillance capability has recently closed. Subsequent release for tender is planned to be released in mid-2021. Continued investment and development of space capabilities will be required to further improve Defence's resilience. Investment of around $7 billion in space capabilities over the next decade will provide assured access to these services when needed. This investment will also provide new and exciting opportunities for Australian industry. Defence will look at innovative ways to expand our current space capability to meet unique Australian requirements and develop our industry partnerships. We need to develop and support our people to be our innovation. Sustainable Air Force innovation requires an intelligent and skilled community who demonstrate agility, creativity and innovation at every level in our workforce and extended community. We would greatly benefit from your input in defining our future workforce needs, taking into account the lead times for emergent capabilities. We would also benefit from deeper relationships by integrating agile career pathways through exchange programs to attract, develop and retain the best talent between us. This is also a shared goal as set out in the Defence Science and Technology Strategy, which aims to develop a highly skilled and collaborative workforce, recognising diversity in partnerships and building shared culture. We all have a shared interest in increasing the STEM pipeline for a strong Australian future talent pool. This is an area that would greatly benefit from continued collaboration between defence, industry and academia. We need to be creative and think differently here to attract people into STEM. Many of you would have come across Jasper, an animation of an adventurous young girl with big dreams to fly. And we are now working on an exciting new character who may just end up on Mars. Isaac Asimov wrote essays on the creative process and innovation. He outlined how new ideas are formed when innovators associate ideas from different fields, connecting bits of knowledge and seemingly unrelated ideas in new ways. Our traditional capability procurement model is unlikely to give us creative and innovative outcomes we are looking for. We need to bring our minds together, to imagine, to create, to collaborate and to innovate, to see things from each other's perspectives. The collaborative approach we have used on IAMD has shown the benefits of bringing diverse minds together. Our partners in industry and academia play a pivotal role in stretching us beyond our own reality to offer solutions we may not even have thought of. We need to view our capability needs as much more than just the technology. It is about how the whole system works, or entirely new systems work. I've been thinking deeply about how to approach capability development differently, and I would welcome your thoughts throughout today and moving forward. I would like to hold forums on particular ideas, set challenges and seek solutions. I would love to set bold challenges like building a hypersonic weapon in Australia or assuring our access to space. Collaborative innovation events like SpaceFest and Industry Innovation Days will be a key part of how I would like to engage. Continuing the cultural shift to a genuine partnership between defence and industry is critical to ensuring the expertise resident in our industry base effectively supports Australia's national security. This means making it easier for industry to work with defence and access opportunities. There are multiple programs that exist to support Australian industry and innovators to succeed in the defence market. The first program is the Australian Industry Capability Program, which provides opportunities for Australian companies to compete on merit for defence work within Australia and overseas. The Australian Government's Centre for Defence Industry Capability and their Innovation Hub portal will inform you on current defence innovation priorities and provide you with a channel to submit your proposals. Also available is the Next Gen Tech Fund, which supports research into emerging and future technologies. They are a great resource if your organisation is developing technologies with a delivery horizon greater than 10 years. And the last program I'd like to mention is Air Force's Plan Jericho, which seeks out industry and academic partners to bring cutting-edge technology and thinking into the joint force in creative and agile ways. Today is about sharing insights, strengthening partnerships and shaping the future. Australia needs to rapidly develop capabilities that sharpen our competitive edge, and we can't do it alone. I believe that relationships and collaborations are a distinct element in our competitive advantage. Never before has our relationship with industry been so important to helping us deliver cutting-edge capabilities. From today, I would love to hear your thoughts on how we can approach capability development in new ways. Together, we can build the tools and capabilities our people need to do their role as a force for good in the world. I look forward to working with you to protect the things we all hold so dear, our freedom, our values, and our way of life.